go.
And this quad on the right of your shot on the Buckinghamshire station, the Y quad cities from the United States. They're very young, but they're actually very experienced, already been to Junior World Championships. I thought they were just amazing to watch. Really, for me, just one of the outstanding performances I've seen in the regatta. We thought the quad from Henley Rowing Club were going to be very strong in this Jubilee. They led by 2 lengths at one point, but the Y quad cities hung in, eventually rode through them and came back. So as we see it here, Latymer are doing the same thing. Latymer Upper were silver medalists at the National Schools Regatta, behind that quad from Henley, and they did exactly the same thing. They got a lead, but they've got to be getting a big lead on this group from the United States in the foreground if they're going to be winning this one at the end.
Yeah, what impressed me yesterday about Y quad was how calm they were when they were down. I was going up to the start, and you could see that they were just in their boat and they were just getting their rhythm, and they clearly know that they have a sprint at the end if they need it, and Latymer will know that too now.
Well, it's, as we look in the quad in the foreground here, the Y quad cities, it's Caroline Charis in the stroke seat, and she's the one who's setting the rhythm, and she's so experienced. She's already won a junior gold medal when she was 15 years old, or 16 years old rather, in 2016. Now she's 18, sitting in that stroke seat leading this group. She's backed up by Taylor English. She celebrated her 16th birthday while she's been here in the UK. And then Emma Mask and Delaney Evans, and they're still young, still got so much to give, and now they're just into their rhythm. There's just that power, and I think it's just they're starting to move as we're still in the early stage of the race. Now, the early lead from Latymer Upper School, they really need to hang in now if they're going to hold the pressure that's coming on from this crew in front of us.
I'm enjoying what Y quad are doing here with the way they're pushing the boat through. It's a real strong, decisive jump that they have almost on the boat, but they're being really effective with it, Greg. And I think you look at Latymer there, smoother, flatter maybe in their stroke, just having to do a little bit of steering. And I think Y quad realise that this is a point where they want to sort of get back. Maybe they don't want to leave it again for the enclosures past the stand. And again, they're in a position where they're behind, but I think they're in a good rhythm and they're pressing it through.
And when you talk about that jump, I mean, I guess the jump has to be once the blades are in the water. Sometimes you see the jump happen when the blades are still in the air, and then you get a slap. The jump happens once the blades are locked in, they're pressed in, and then the work effectively comes through and the boat moves so well. But here the crews are, they're through the barrier, and now coming out into this period where it gets a little bit quieter, and Latymer still sculling quite nicely on the right of the screen. I think they're still pretty well level, I would have thought, if not in a slight lead, but they seem to be just wandering a little bit with their steering.
Yeah, I noticed that. I think they are having a little bit of problem with their steering. There's quite a lot of crews out today, and perhaps, you know, you just saw the booms, as we call them. It can get to the point where you just bounce. You can see they've just steered themselves back onto the booms to get straight, and then they feel maybe a little bit close, and they'll steer away again. And each time that is just, there they go. They're just putting a tiny little brake onto the boat. What they need to do is just get themselves straight and let it settle down. Because this will just be affecting the rhythm, Greg, just a small amount each time.
And that's partly about the rudder, it's partly about the blade pressures as well. And it's Olivia von Stuffenberg in the bow seat who has that rudder attached to her foot. And she'll be doing her absolute best to try and keep a nice even distance between those sculls on the right. And the booms to their right, she's got Maya Thomas, Maya Anderson and Carter Nelson in front of her, and the four of them just want to keep moving smoothly together. She wants to see them lined up with the steering marker behind them. But again, what a fantastic race this is turning into, coming up towards Forley, and this one is very, very close to call.
Yeah, Latymer again going very close to the booms there with their right-hand blades. Y quad keeping a little bit more distance away, probably feels a bit more confident. There they are, that flat move we saw them do in front of the enclosures yesterday. So effective, Greg. They have just taken half a length.
Well, it's that strength that just comes through the drive phase of the stroke, and then they're really quite quick. It's not like they really leave their bodies out that far. Sometimes you see quads really leaning back and trying to maximise the bodies, not even needing to do that. They're just getting it locked up and then giving it a power through. I wonder whether they have quite strong gearing, so that actually they're maybe a little bit slower off the start, but once they're up and running, they're moving the boat a long way every stroke.
And what a weapon that is. If you're side by side, you know that in 10 or 15 strokes you can make that move. You can just decide when to drop the hammer. You can only do it a couple of times in a race, because we talk about burning matches. I think cyclists use that term also, and you can only burn so many matches during a race. But they've just burned a match, and what the question is what can Latymer do?
Well, I think when you burn those matches, you use energy up for yourself, but you cause a real psychological hammer blow to your opposition. And that's what they'll be wanting to do to the crew from Latymer Upper. They'll be wanting to take themselves out of sight. But we've still got the enclosures. They're going to have great support for the home crew. And I'm sure the Latymer quad are going to want to think, well, this lot had a tough race yesterday. Let's put more pressure on them now as we come along the enclosures. The great thing about Henley, of course, is that it needs to build day after day. This is the semi-final. These crews have been out for the last few days having tough side-by-side races. Whose training is going to pay off for them now as they're coming along beside that drone station on the right, where this drone lands, which is taking these amazing pictures where you can see just how nicely the two quads are moving together. It's not absolutely perfect for either of them at this stage, but you wouldn't necessarily expect it to be. The synchronization's pretty good, but I think the power in the crew from the Y quad is just holding them ahead of this crew from Latymer, who are moving still really well together.
Yeah, and you look there, just a little glance at the bow girl there, Olivia looking over her left shoulder, just wondering where Y quad are and checking what the distance is. Y quad now have that advantage. They can see Latymer and start to potentially control the race in a way that, if Latymer move again, they can drop another match should they need to. But we've still got a little bit of track there. It'll start to get really noisy for them, Greg. You can see the number of people there. Jackets off today. It's so hot here at Henley Regatta. People have got their feet in the river and they are being given a treat. Look at that, wide quad against Latymer Upper.
Well, if something's going to happen, it really needs to start happening now for the crew from Latymer. There's probably only about 10 strokes from the progress board, and we see them coming past now. The Y quad cities looking like they're slightly pulling themselves onto the handle. The technique's not quite as good as it was, but they're coming down towards the line.
Look at that, both crews giving it everything. They know there's a place in the final up for grabs. Y quad keeping that strength, a little bit ragged on their blade work, but it's going to work for them, Greg. They're going to hold off Latymer.
And we see it there, the Y quad cities just came through the line, and it looked like it was about a length, but confirmation of that win in the Diamond Jubilee Challenge for the Y quad cities against Latymer Upper School.
Look at that, really nice sportsmanship as the Latymer Upper girls just turn around to Y quad, give them a clap, give them a cheer, despite the pain.
Well, that was the face of Delaney Evans in the bow seat of the Y quad cities. All these girls go to the same school, Pleasant Valley High School. If anyone there's tuning in, we hope you're enjoying our coverage, as well as anyone else in the United States who's tuning in to watch us. We appreciate you joining us.